I went to pastry school so you don't have to, and this is the most difficult part of making a croquembouche that everyone has been leaving out on the internet. Today we are combining water, sugar, and almonds to make what the French call nougatine, and we are going to be sculpting with molten hot sugar. Who in France decided that this is what separated the best pastry chefs in the world? So now we're heating our sugar, water, glucose in a pot until it reaches 330 degrees Fahrenheit, and then we're going to add in our warmed almond. Once the two are combined, you're going to pour it out on a silpat and you're going to start molding and shaping it. At first you're just kneading it so it cools down a little bit. This has obviously helped if you have a marble surface because it doesn't conduct heat as well, which I have one of those. It's fake and from IKEA, so it doesn't actually work. But once it's cool enough and not super molten, you want to roll it out with a rolling pin. But as it cools down completely, it's actually going to become brittle and solidify back into sugar. So when that happens, you want to pop it back in the oven that I keep warm at 250 degrees Fahrenheit. And then from here, I'm just playing this lovely, lovely dance of putting sheets back in the oven, taking them out, trying to roll them as thin as possible. Once they cool back, put them back in the oven. And keep in mind, when I say cool down, I mean it's like 200 degrees Fahrenheit. My hands are on fire the entire time. Once you roll out each sheet of nougatine flat enough, I'm starting to cut out circles because these are going to be the cake stand bases. So I've made two 8-inch circles that I've used by trimming around the outside of these cake pans. And then I also made a smaller little base so that way our croquembouche can sit on that one. I didn't want to make a giant croquembouche, okay? From there, I also took a lot of the leftover offcuts of the nougatine and I smushed them together into a little nougatine ball, and then I put them in this little ring mold to act as our base. Normally, I would make a hollow base instead of a rock solid one. This is what many pastry chefs would consider to be cheating, but because this has to travel all the way from Westchester back into the city, I just didn't want to risk it. In Dominique Ansel's cookbook, he also uses the nougatine to make little triangle shapes to stick on the outside of the croquembouche to add some like texture or something, or to keep out like croquembouche predators. I don't really know, so I made a long rectangle that I will cut into triangles. I accidentally left this in the oven a little too long, so that's why it's a little bit darker, but then from here, I just measured out little points where I was going to cut the triangles. I wanted the triangles to be curved, so as soon as I was done curving the triangles, I stuck them outside a cake ring so that way they could have a little bit of dimension to them. I've managed to say my piece in about like 2 minutes, and I don't think this even comes close to describing how much pain I went through this process. I have an hour of footage from just this. Working with sugar is all about working and controlling temperatures. As soon as the sugar touches any surface, you're going to transfer heat from the sugar into that surface. So even though you're doing something as simple as cutting triangles with knives, every time you cut through something with your knife, you're actually cooling down the sugar, and that means it's more likely to break. So many missing tips to these triangles. Anyways, that is why I went to pastry school, so you didn't have to, okay? I'm suffering through this process. You don't have to do this, please.